fumbling and stumbling, but I do plan to uh, start up my weekly live chat with guests next year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I used to have a Wednesday night show, and have a bunch of people appear and talk about comic books and all that stuff. But I have not done that since late last year. Okay, let me see here. We are live, I think. We'll see. We'll see if we as soon as we kick up live, then we can start talking. There's always a lag. I also put your channels in the link
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
so that if anybody are not familiar with your channel.
I'm having to use my phone right now. My laptop is out of commission.
Okay, well, that will work. Sometimes the phone works better, to be honest. The computer sometimes fumble and stumble and do all kind of stupid stuff.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Black Friday.
Oh, it's coming soon. Black Friday is so early now that okay, let's do on. Let's do public. Okay, let's. Okay, I think I got this thing almost figured out. I think we are up live. We are on. Okay. I think. Give me another few more minutes here as I do one more check, and then we're up to go. So where are you? Are you in California?
I'm in Idaho.
Oh, Idaho. Wow. See, for some reason, I thought you in California. For some reason,
Oh.
maybe because of your background in skating or skateboarding,
Yeah.
right? Were you a skateboarder at one
BMX.
you were heading
BMX.
to the X game kind of thing?
Yeah, I grew up in Portland, Oregon, so that was a pretty
Okay.
big scene back then.
Now, can you hear me? Because now that we up and running, how come I don't hear?
A pretty big scene back then.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me.
Because now that we
I'm echoing, so don't worry about that. Let me fix that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me. Alrighty. I just mute my thing so that I'm not echoing because there's a lag between what we're doing and what people see on the internet. So here we are, folks. If you watch this later, you can. But joining me here is Comic Brains. He is gonna school me on Magic the Gathering, and I can't wait to learn more. And if we can't do it in 1 hour or whenever he need to go, then we have more session because I doubt it if I can learn everything in 1 hour.
Yeah.
And I have I have invited other people to do the same thing. So if other viewers want to do the same thing, so go ahead. I put the link to his channel below. So if you're not subscribed to his channel, go ahead and subscribe. But I let him introduce himself.
Hey everybody, Comic Brain. Just basically your average comic collector, and I don't do a whole lot of videos on Magic the Gathering because there's already tons of channels there with that, so I'm gonna just keep that as a side hobby, but just kind of your average nerd.
Okay, I have a lot of questions, so let's see if I can fire as many questions at you as possible. Did you collect comic books first before you collect Magic the Gathering?
I actually started playing Magic before I started.
Ah, now did you discover comics after because you go to the LCS to buy the cards?
Yes, actually. I started actually. I already established the 90 Jim Lee X series,
Okay.
but I never into collecting at the time. I would just try to get here and there.
Okay.
But it was pretty. I was in recognized of comics and collecting at the time of me playing Magic.
Okay. So go ahead and well, let me see if I can ask the question, and then now, did you get into the Magic the Gathering game because your friend got into it, or is something that out of your own like initiative that you're like, oh, this look kind of cool, I want to give it a try?
Yeah, exactly. I was with started in high school actually, and one of my art classes. We had always had a few minutes to spare. He just jumped in it from there.
Did you know about the potential value or monetary value of these things before you start to play the game or collect, or is that something that came after?
I kind of knew a little bit. I started playing the I can't remember Shards of Innistrad that came out a long time ago. And back then, the prices for Magic cards weren't outrageous how they are now. You know, playable card that to play was about 5 which was pretty pricey back then. So
Now they
I
now
kind of
the,
had
now those same card that you said was for $5-10. What are they worth now?
Probably about $150, $200.
Okay, so you're talking about in 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now, did you buy anything for the sure as a player you bought things to play, right? But do
Yeah.
you also go out there and buy things to invest, or do you just like buy strictly to play? And then
I strictly would listen for it to play. I did.
okay.
I wasn't into the investment part until probably about 5.
Okay, and do you still have a lot of cards?
I do. Yeah.
Have you sold anything?
Yes. Actually, I've sold quite a few um, collection. There's a few decks that I do that I use for playing, and I do have a set of cards I've set aside because I know they still maintain high value. But right now, I've been put more investment in comics.
Okay.
It kind
Now,
of
do you grade these things that are worth a lot of money, or do you buy them already graded?
as the cards or
Yeah, because like I occasionally heard Rudy Alpha Investment Channel talk about graded cards, even though he doesn't show much of them on his channel. Do you buy these things, or do you send them out to be graded, or you don't do that at all?
I personally don't.
Okay.
I keep them pretty protected in little card top holders. But as far as that, no. I,
So so
it's
so the,
actually I
the
kind
so the Magic the Gathering community is not as obsessed about the protective card like CGC case like we are as comic collector, right?
yeah.
Because the little sleeve or the little mylar thing that they have, that's plenty good enough, right?
Yeah, I brought some. They're
Okay.
sitting on the
Yeah, feel free to show them. I mean, I like to see them now. Do you when you start playing in the early days, were you careful enough to protect the card that you got right away, or did you beat them up playing, or you didn't care?
at that time nobody really cared. There was sleeves and stuff at the time, but I don't think a lot of people at the time were that big into the investment collecting period. It was more as the playable market.
Okay, all right. Yeah, feel free to grab a bunch and show us some of the expensive stuff. I love to see them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's yeah, I have admired the. I just thought they were neat, it to me it's has always been a neat thing to see other collectible market without participating in them. Because like
Mhm.
I watch people talk about baseball cards and football cards and even Pokemon card. But I don't collect them. I just think it's neat because it's so different than comic books.
Oh yes.
It is so different, and like I said, my mind just can't wrap around like because my son, he's 12 years old, right, and he look at all of the collection stuff is weird. It's his, I'm not sure you have no kids yet, right? You're young. You just
No,
I
no,
know
no.
you're married from your video. I know
Yeah.
you have a wife, but you don't have kids yet. But like my son, his generation, I talked to his friends. They're 12 years old, and they just don't they just don't collect much.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a weird thing because they look at us like, I will sit there and talk with my son and his friend, and they will be like, "Yeah, you pay big money for." Well, his reasoning is comic books is at least a bunch of pages with story and drawing, right? So he's like, okay, at least it's a bunch of stuff in that CGC case. But he's
Yeah.
just like that baseball card is a cardboard that's like 3 by 2 inches. He said
Yeah.
it's like no entertainment value much in that.
No.
He's just like, I don't get it. Like he played Pokemon with his friend when he was younger. He has a whole stack of Pokemon cards, but just like they're just there to play. I don't collect them. I don't get people that pay like tens of thousands for like the earlier Pokemon card. He's just like he doesn't get it. So yeah, go ahead. Show us some of your fancy card because I love to see.
um, I brought these four. So
Okay.
most Magic Gathering sets, you're allowed to play four of one card.
Okay.
Actually, I feel like this card right here.
Ooh, nice. I seen that on Rudy's channel.
Yeah. Um, these are kind of mine.
Okay.
I have
Wow. Okay, yeah, four of them. So now, how much are those worth?
um I have a foil one right here. This is about $150. Um, this is original scratch from 2011. This goes about 90 to 100. And then these were in 2015, and these go about 70, 75 in near condition.
Okay. Now, as far as the cards, um, where is there like a general price guide kind of places where you can know what something is worth other than just going on eBay and see what people sell them for? Like how like
Yeah.
comic books you will have like GPA for CGC Slab or Go Collect for CBCS and other company, but what is it with the Magic the Gathering to help you determine the prices?
There's several different websites a lot of people like to go through. Actually, eBay right now is a better choice in getting these cards at the moment.
Okay.
A lot of in the market right now, a lot of retailer stores, you kind of see a higher price spike in a lot of these singles and play sets and stuff like that. So you can use MTG Goldfish is one, Star City Games is another one. So a lot of people that host a lot of Magic the Gathering tournament have a card that usually top played cards in tournaments, and then usually price kind of like a cent for CGC.
Okay. All right. So that makes sense. Like even like with comic books, eBay is probably the best place to look
Oh
for
yeah.
prices. I mean, it's not perfect. I talk about this with comic collector all the time. There is no perfect pricing methods for collectible. It's not like the stock market. The stock market is instant because you have millions of participants that will buy and sell met in milliseconds. In comic books, in Magic the game thing, I mean, it's almost like random to find a buyer or a seller that has something that you want. I mean, there is no set. it's very difficult to determine the fair value of anything, because just because something is sold at a certain price right now does not mean that the next sales would be at the same price, right? That's just how it is, because the next guy that want to buy the same book or the same card might say, I'm not paying that.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult market for a lot of people to understand, as far as trying to figure out what the fair value is. Now, as far as you buy single pack, or do you buy like the whole box, like the people on Rudy's channel, and just like rip the whole damn package thing apart?
No, I kind of stay away from buying a lot of sealed product when it comes to Magic. I think, actually watching the market now, it's really catered towards investors, not more players anymore. So as for me, it's cheaper for me to spend the price for the actual card than it is me to take the risk of me spending $100 on a booster pack of 6 cards and hopefully take the gamble of me trying to get that card I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of similarity between Magic card and the comic book hobby, because a lot of the investors and speculators are now a bigger part of the hobby now
Yes.
than ever. Speculators and investors has always been in the market. Okay, I think a lot of people that been in this hobby for 30, 40 years like me, if they're honest about it, they will tell you, yeah, I mean, there's people in the 80s that was hoarding and planning to hold on to these books because they are good investments back in the 80s, in the 70s, and the 60s. So it always existed, but that become more and more part of the market now than ever, right? But back then, a bulk of the people that buy comic books are teenagers or kids that read. Now, I'm sure if you go to your LCS, do you see any 10-year-old buying comic books? No.
No, yeah, I think more adults than anything.
Yeah, so
Uh,
it's changed. The demographic of the hobby has changed so much. But Magic the Gathering has always been with the older crowd, right?
yeah, it's always catered to an older audience, I believe.
Yeah, because
As far as I,
I was aware of Magic the Gathering probably maybe 2008, 2009 ish, about 10 years ago. That was
yeah,
my first, that's when I first returned to the hobby. I didn't go to the LCS for so many years. From like 1994 to like 2008, I didn't set foot in a comic book store. So I missed out on the whole decade plus 15 years. And then when I returned to the hobby in 2008 and went to my LCS, I see so many. What my LCS is really big, but more than half of the store, more than half, 2/3 of the store is devoted to gaming, and well, it's rows and rows of like games with little miniature figures, all those things you can
oh
buy.
yeah,
All
like
kind of,
Dungeons and Dragons.
yeah, all kind of dice and all kind of like little castle, all kind of stuff. But a third of the store is like just empty table, for people to play. That's when I'm just like, what is this? What kind of
Yeah,
comic store have all this tape? And then I talk to the guys, and they're like, oh yeah, that's every Saturday night we have a tournament, this and that. I'm just like, tournament? What? What are you talking about? Geeks punching out each other? What kind of tournament is this?
yeah.
Nerds beating up each other with gloves? What kind of tournament? Fight club? We have a fight club in LCS? He's like, no. He's like, Magic the Gathering, this and that. I'm just like, Magic the Gathering? What? Yeah, so ever since then, I kind of like pay attention to that, just because I'm just like, this is fascinating, because I would never thought that the gaming community would be so big. It's bigger than the comic community.
I feel Magic are pretty similar to the comic collecting industry as far as players and investor and collectors. I think it's pretty close to this.
How do you feel about the market now? You like how on alpha investment, Rudy talked about certain segment of the market is like really weak.
Yeah.
Do you feel that? Outside of what Rudy is saying, how do you what do you see as a participant in that market?
That's a good. How I feel it is, I kind of stated it in your comment I left in your comment from the video. I feel like it's more catered toward the investor and collector. I think they've pulled away from the original 10 years ago when we saw more tournaments, more the average Joe, or how Rudy calls them, the Timmies.
Timmy's, yeah.
The Timmies. Back then, it was strictly a playable, affordable card game, and now it's drawn a lot of people away from the original intention of wanting to play the game, and it's harder for people to get into the invested part of the game. It's more how you can say it. I guess it's kind of flipped since 2008.
I think that's the same with comic community. You know what I mean? When I first returned to the hobby in 2008, certainly slabbing was
relevant.
It was relevant. It was growing, but it's still not cool.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of people. In fact, some of the earliest video I remember seeing on YouTube way back then, and one of the reasons why I didn't care to even watch YouTube for comic is like a bunch of guys bitching about slab. Comic book is for reading. Slabbing, putting on the plastic thing is so stupid. But there was quite a few videos of dudes on YouTube talking that way, and I was just kind of like, whatever. Not that I was big on slabbing right away, but I understand that's a big part of the market. But now it's bigger than ever. I mean, the slabbing market is just massive. I mean, both CBCS and CGC are so busy. Now, for you, obviously you enjoy both. But if you had to pick one, something that you enjoy more, can you pick one?
Yeah, I would do comic most definitely. Magic has just gotten really too expensive nowadays, and I think that goes back to the original question too. Is that it pulling a lot of you away from playing the original game, and then you get investors buying these exclusive Wizard promo boxes and stuff like that. It's pulling people away from wanting to spend $200-300 on trying to get these cards. And this game should really only be no more than less than 100 to play.
Yeah, I can't imagine that if you go to how often do you play MTG now?
I play every Friday.
Okay. So when you go and play, do you sit down with strangers?
Yeah.
Okay. And does these strangers sit there and open up these collection that have like $1,000 cards in it?
There's a few people. We actually here in Idaho have I think it's the third or fourth largest Magic the Gathering retailer store.
Okay.
World, and you do occasionally those people with $1,000 binders of cards and stuff like that. But most people you don't usually see people with the current standard market of cards with people wanting to trade and play.
Like the Dungeon and Dragon game is pretty big, right?
Yeah.
That down here is pretty big now. Does Magic the Gathering have like that kind of tournament? Like a big tournament that you can go through many layers and big prizes, or is just like is there prizes in this game?
Oh yeah, there's huge tournaments all over the place. Pro Tour qualifier are every once in a while at stores down here. And usually, if you win a Pro Tour qualifier at a local LPS, you get invites to go to Las Vegas or Seattle, or you can win grand prize of 1,000.
So the price can be in the thousands.
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't know. I kind of guessed that there's some kind of tournament because, I can't imagine this kind of gaming wouldn't have some kind of tournament like poker. You got to be some kind of money to drive so many people to this game. There's
Yeah,
no money.
The last. It's kind of interesting now that Magic is veered to Magic the Gathering Arena, which is a more online-based playing.
Yeah.
They've always had it online, but Arena is more digital style. And a lot of people are referring to that. It's a lot cheaper for them to play than it is on paper. And the last tournament that was just one guy took 100,000.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's I'm telling you, there's money to be made playing any kind of games, even like video games. I see this. I don't play games. I don't play games. My son play games like Fortnite or whatever it is, and he talk about how there's some tournament that have like $100,000 prize or whatever it is, and I'm just like, damn, I wish I was 40 years younger.
Yeah.
My hands and eye coordination are so bad now. I can't even play those games. I get motion sickness. I mean, like, it's funny, right? I was so excited to get the PS3 many years ago. This is like, gosh, 7 years ago.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, and I bought Call of Duty, I think. And the first time I sat down and play, I got dizzy and almost puke because the motion sickness thing. And I'm just like, I told my wife, I can't even play the game. I'll get all dizzy and shit. My son, he laughed. This is like, he was like 5 years old at the time. He's just like, you getting sick? You're turning green. You look like you're going to vomit just playing Call of Duty, Oh, I got to mute that one. So yeah, it's just amazing to me. But I'm glad. Like I said, I don't have any horse in the Magic the Gathering game. I just find it so fascinating that a lot of people, would you say that the Magic the Gathering is certainly a younger crowd than the comic book crowd?
Yes. Yeah, I would see that most definitely.
Like more so like in the 20 to the mid 30-ish.
I think you nailed it about right there. Most people that do play are early 20s to late 30s.
Okay, because I don't see, maybe because that's when the games start to get big, like 15, 20 years ago, right? It's not like the game with comic books. The reason why you have guys like me, 53 or older guys, because it's been around since 1940s.
Yeah.
Now maybe in 10 years when you're in your 40s, are you 30 yet?
I'm 32.
Yeah, so maybe in 10 years when you're in your 40s, you look back and say, hey, Magic the Gathering is for people from the 20 to the 40 something because you carry on, right? So the hobby will expand. The age group of your hobby will expand as the hobby get older and older, right? So right now, I think that makes sense that most people are in their late 20s, early 30s, and because that's the crowd. I like I said, it's beyond me. I'm too old for that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I have seen Magic the Gathering card at garage sales. Now, have you ever go shopping for these things in like garage sales or yard sales?
I typically don't because I know most of the time most of those cards aren't worth anything. No. I mainly, obviously, I chose the most expensive hobbies right now, Magic and comics.
Now with Magic the Gathering, right? Like I watch Rudy channel religiously like every day. I barely can remember which card is famous or worthy to keep, right? So it's not like I have a database of like, oh, that card is a good one to pick up for cheap. But how do you like comic book is much easier, I think, as far as like remember keys.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to Magic the Gathering, holy cow! Like when I see Rudy flip through a pack and dish out all the, I'm like, I watch hundreds of his video and I can barely remember a few cards in my head. I'm like, I don't get it. Do you have a hard time, or for you it might be easier because you play the game, so you know exactly what's worth something?
Yeah. At first, it was kind of hard because I've always spent most of my time learning and understanding DC and Marvel keywords, significant stuff like that, and entering Magic at the time was just like I don't even know what to begin. But once I started playing tournaments and watching people online and YouTube, you start to pick up with not caring about the other cards, but the cards people are really most focused on.
Now, as far as the cards are worth a lot of money, for sure, because of rarity, right? They're rarer than other card, right?
Yes.
Like the Black Lotus that I have I heard that a million times on Rudy channel, so I'm just like I know what it looked like, Black Lotus. Now the card is worth more because of the rarity, but does the strength of the card mean anything at all, or doesn't matter? It's to me it should matter at all, right? It's not like the rare card or the strong card, or it is it.
It it does both. It goes both that way. Black Lotus was pretty broken. Obviously, it was a mechanic where you could play for free and add more mana to your hand. And eventually, people learned how to make that just busted, just win on turn one almost when you're playing. And then I think that was the kind of start where people started going after it. And also a lot of the beta block sets that came out in the early 90s were so limited, such a low print when it comes to those. So that drove the value of a lot of those cards up too.
So is Black Lotus the most famous one?
It's I would have to say I'd probably say it's comparable to not an amazing fantasy 15, but maybe like a whole or
Okay.
Bring the Mystery 83.
What would you consider the most famous card? Because I'm sure I heard it on Rudy channel, but I don't. I wouldn't recognize it. So tell me what is considered the action one or the Amazing Fantasy 15 of Magic the Gathering.
Uh, Probably no, it actually might be a Black Lotus because
Okay.
that card can reach graded at really in the high 15 grand.
Wow. See, it's amazing. I mean, granted
Yeah.
that that the some of the Pokemon card is worth even more, right?
Yes.
I mean, I have seen my son talk about it. He's like, "Oh yeah, this Pokemon card was sold for 25,000." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. I think I know what card that your son was talking. It was a Japanese uh, Pikachu with a paintbrush.
Yeah, it was a Pikachu for sure. But I remember he talked about it like 2 years ago or something like that. I'm just like I said, like I said, I have a hard time explaining to people why comic books worth something, right? It's hard,
Mhm.
because like for non-collectors, it's very hard to justify to them because like I have friends that would say that a comic book is like a print, like a magazine. There are
Mm.
hundreds and thousands of these things. It's not like it's one of a kind. But they apply the same thing to baseball card. They're just like they don't get it. They understand the collector thing that us men, mostly men, like to collect. But at the same time, most of my female friends just like they don't get it. They're just like doesn't make any sense. But then again, they try to justify collecting shoes and bags, you know,
Right.
and I'm just like, it's the same thing. Your shoes and bags are not one of a kind, okay? And you have 50 pair of shoes in your closet, so it is what it is. We human are stupid, okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Anyhow, I don't want to keep you too long. I figured maybe half an hour would be cool. Um, I definitely love to have you back again down the
Yeah.
road. You know, I have a few other people that express interest in doing this, so maybe uh, down the road we can have like more than just me and you, another player in here, and you guys can banter more about what's going on. Because for me, everything is new. I can sit here and listen to you and another player talk about the game, and I'm fine with that because that's why I watch Rudy channel because it's just
Yeah.
fun.
I love Rudy. Yeah, he's extremely smart, and for a non-sponsor individual, really awesome to see how he built his entrepreneur empire.
Yeah, you're
He
talking.
great.
I'm sure he's a millionaire make over many times.
Yeah.
Plus, on top of that, he has like something like 200, 300,000 subscribers. That's like, yeah.
Yeah.
The Magic the Gathering have a bigger community than the comic book community online, I would say.
Yes. I would say as far as I think the playing and the viewing aspect is tremendously huge comparable to the comic book. But as far as the collecting aspect and investment, I think they're pretty similar.
Well, before we go, Hazel Coffee Nut, hey, welcome joining our chat. And she had a few questions, but even though we kind of answered that one, she said, do you play with the magic cards that worth a lot of money, or do you just collect them? You answer.
Yeah, the Liliana that I have really is in one of my decks that I do play. So
Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, the volume. Yes, I tried to. Well, I think the audio might be kind of sketchy for this entire live chat. So my apology to those that think it's not very high quality, but it's YouTube. Um, we will do better next time. Hopefully, Comic Brain will have his laptop fixed,
yep.
and he can have a better connection with the live chat in the future. But yeah, before the last question from Hazel Coffee for you, we cannot answer this. She asked about what make a card value high, rarity or high level. You already answered that, both, right? You said that they both because they're rare and they're powerful.
Yeah, it depends on what it's being played as, and I guess it's the thought of how many people are going for that card too in that certain deck. So it varies from both.
Okay, and so I take that you have never sent a card in to get graded.
No, grading I've done is comics.
Okay, yeah, because I'm curious to see how expensive it is to grade a Magic card. I can't. I'm certain it got to be cheaper than CGC because it's just.
I think it's about the same. To
Really?
be honest.
Holy cow! Well,
Yeah.
believe it or not, grading comic books is the least one of the least profitable grading servers out there compared to cards or coins.
Oh wow.
Because
No video picking
yeah,
up right.
well, yeah, video games do. The reason is, think about this. With comic books, you had to check 30 pages, right? You got to flip through the entire book. And the
Yeah.
book is big. The coin, two side. Baseball card, Pokemon card, Magic the Gathering card is two side.
Two sides. Yeah.
And it's 3 inch by 3 inch, 4 inch by 2, whatever it is. It's small, right? It's not the whole 8 inch by 5 inch. So the dimension is much bigger for comic books, many more pages to check. That's why grading coins and cards are so profitable. that's why it's shocking to me that they charge the same price, because they can grade probably 15 cards or 20 cards the same time they can grade one comic book.
Yeah.
That's why it's so profitable, because the company that grade comic book for CGC, they also does coins and
Oh,
cards.
wow.
Yeah, they coins. If you go to CGC compound, I guarantee you, the big money is in the coin area.
I'll have to check it out next time I'm in
Well,
Florida.
if you're ever in town, let me know. I will drive you. We can go to CGC together, and you can see the campus, okay? Because it's not as big as people think it is, but it's cool. It's neat. I've been there, every month, so I'm spoiled. I've been there for the past 10, 11 years. I go to CGC once a month, so
Oh,
it's
wow,
not.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to be able to drive there in 20 minutes. So
Instead of waiting weeks.
yeah, yeah. Anyhow, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
I look forward to the next time we can hook up and talk more about Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Until next time, bye. Let's end the broadcast here.